Number 2 behind Mitt Romney is Santorum. That is what has happened with precinct number 1, West Des Moines. Over here, though, they are still counting. They're on their second count for precinct number 2, which are the white ballots. So they've actually at the same time, if we turn around for 1 second, they're making the official 79 votes, she's saying, for Mitt Romney. Ron Paul, third with 42 votes. Gingrich is fourth, 24.
No votes. We're still working on West Des Moines, too.
So you've heard what Christy Taylor, who runs this precinct. Christy, would give us those numbers one more time?
Sure. Governor Romney has 79, Santorum 46, Paul 42, Gingrich 24, Perry 23, Bachmann has 10, and then unfortunately none for Huntsman and Kane.
All right, so that's one precinct. Over here with the white ballots, as I mentioned, you've got the second precinct reporting. Any word on how that's going so far in the second count?
It's a bigger precinct, and so it's taking a little bit longer. It's a high volume, a lot of votes. I'm guessing a similar turnout, but we'll see momentarily.
Okay, so that is what we are standing by for. I know that there were some folks who were able to wrap up their counts early, but of course, this is a place where we had maybe 1,000 people, and because of those numbers started a little bit late, the count goes longer, and they're just wrapping up their second confirmation count in the precinct number 1. I'm expecting in just a minute or two, they'll be able to tell us how that went, but of course, in precinct 2, Mitt Romney significantly ahead. Thanks.
Soledad, thanks. And you guys, Soledad showed us in that shot, the place is pretty much empty except for what's happening on stage. Most of those 1,000 people have already gone home. John King, that's an important area, as you were saying, because of the area around Des Moines. Important to watch those numbers coming in.
Right, and here's our live caucus cam right where Soledad is. You see Bachmann and Kane. You see the votes there. You see people now moving on. So let's take that away. Let's come back to our map and show you exactly what we're talking about here. And you come in, you watch the state is, again, look at this. We're stuck at 22%. We're waiting this to come in. This is about as close as it gets. And you see it playing out in the three-way race, county by county. Soledad's here. This is Polk County. She's out here in Clive in the suburbs. 12.8% of the state's population, so 13% of the population. Now, we don't say that's going to be 13% of the vote tonight. We have to see how many Republicans turned out in this area, but this is the biggest chunk of the vote. So that vote she's watching to see Romney win that one precinct, just one precinct, but that's what Governor Romney wants to see. But as you see right now, that's Ron Paul. Ron Paul leading, but again, 28% to 22%. We're talking fewer than 1,000 votes for everybody, 27%. As that number goes up, this is the biggest area. If Ron Paul holds that lead, it's big. But as you go county by county, this is interesting. Again, Speaker Gingrich leading in one county, it's less than 1% of the population, so it's not a huge influence. Michelle Bachmann leading in one county, again, a tiny county right now, not a huge difference. Other than that, Gingrich and Bachmann, this is a three-way race, and you see it playing out like a checkerboard. Someone saying, who's green? Green's a tie. It's a tiny little county. Ron Paul, Rick Perry tied in that conservative little county. But, Anderson, this is fascinating. And if you look at the open spaces now, if you look at the open spaces, let me use a little red here. This is a very important part of the state. Much more conservative. Much more conservative, and a decent population chunk here. If you bring out Sioux City, a decent population chunk, 3.5%. Conservatives here. There was a debate out here not that long ago. A lot of conservatives target this area here. And forgive me for reaching across. I just want to go back in time and show you. Here's where we're going to see if the Romney organization can deliver tonight. Romney carried this area 4 years ago. Remember, conservatives have attacked him, saying he's not the true conservative. If you look at these 3 counties in the West, all carried by Romney. In Woodbury County, where Sioux City is, he had a decent margin, 38%. As we watch, this could decide the race tonight. What happens out in the western part of the state? We don't have the votes there just yet. Conventional wisdom before the voting began tonight was the Northwest, more conservative, perhaps more likely to go for Santorum. The East, more moderate, more likely to go for Romney, and population centers around Ames, where there's a lot of young people because of Iowa State, maybe for Ron Paul. Exactly right. And if you look here, Romney's doing okay here, not quite as strongly as he did last time. This was Romney country. Right now, Santorum's winning. So he's lost ground. Well, he's lost some ground compared to 4 years ago, but you have a three-way race this time. You had a two-way last time. If you see here, Santorum's winning. A lot of these counties, we're talking about a few hundred votes. However, in a very close race, a few hundred votes add up. We're talking about 57 votes right now between first and third place. 57 votes between first and third place, and 23% right now, say, in Dubuque County. Again, in a close election, it's math. You look where the people are. The larger counties, 3% of the population, Romney winning by 5 votes. I mean, by 5 votes. So we're going to slug this one out. So what are the most important population centers that we're still watching? The area around Des Moines? The area around Des Moines, this would be number 1. Polk County is the biggest chunk of the electorate, and that's where Soledad is. She showed those votes counting. Romney just making a gain in that one.
Do we know what percentage of the vote we have in from
We
there?
have from Polk County, we have 27% of the vote in, so there's still a long way to go. That's the first place you want to look. Then Davenport, Cedar Rapids, Dubuque, and Sioux City. And Sioux City, we have nothing right now. Again, we're going to watch this fill in. This is critical to Romney. That could decide the state right there, the western part of the state.
It's fascinating. It's all about geography at this point in numbers. John, we'll check in with you. Our coverage continues. More counting of votes still going on, as you just saw in Clive. We'll bring you those results and elsewhere from around the state. We'll be right back.
CNN's coverage of the Iowa caucuses is sponsored by Cadillac and by Norfolk Southern. One line, infinite possibilities. Go to CNNpolitics.com to get the most up-to-date news and facts from the best political team on television.
What if we told you that Cadillac borrowed technology from Ferrari to develop its suspension system? Or what if we told you that Ferrari borrowed technology from Cadillac to develop its suspension system? Magnetic ride control, pioneered by Cadillac, perfected in the 556 horsepower CTS-V. We don't just make luxury cars, we make Cadillacs.
A line is a powerful thing. It connects the global economy to your living room. Cleaner air to stronger markets. Factory floors to less crowded roads. Today's progress to tomorrow's promise. Norfolk Southern. One line, infinite possibilities.
From director Steven Spielberg, Time Magazine, New York Magazine, Rolling Stone, and the New York Times have named War Horse one of the best films of the year. And now it's a Golden Globe nominee for Best Picture. War Horse, rated PG-13, now playing.
CNN Tonight. A Piers Morgan special live at midnight. Piers has the last word on Iowa and the first on New Hampshire. Rick Santorum joins him live tonight, midnight.
I love my pets, and I would do anything for them. But that doesn't mean I have to overpay for their medications. That's why I always order from 1-800-PET-MEDS. They carry the products that protect my pets from fleas, ticks, and heartworms for less. I get the same exact brand name meds as the vet, and shipping is fast and free. Plus, they add a special treat for my pets. I get everything I need at 1-800-PET-MEDS.
Call 1-800-PET-MEDS or visit 1-800-PETMEDS.com.
You haven't seen it until you've seen it in Charter HD. Call now to add Charter HD for only $5 more a month and watch all your favorite programs in HD. Charter, let it all in.
Live coverage of the New Hampshire primary. CNN, next Tuesday night, 7 Eastern.
Almost a quarter of the official votes have now been counted. A three-man race, very, very close between Mitt Romney, Rick Santorum, and Ron Paul. Let's go to Clive right now. Soledad O'Brien. Have they finished counting the votes over there where you are, Soledad?
Yeah, just a couple minutes ago, Wolf, I told you that West Des Moines 1, Precinct 1 was counted. So now West Des Moines Precinct number 2 has the results in, and here they are. Go down to the bottom here. Mitt Romney, the clear winner with 160 votes, followed by Rick Santorum with 87 votes, and that is a very similar result, actually just larger numbers because the precinct is bigger. Very similar result as to what we saw in Precinct 1, which reported and closed a couple minutes ago. So Dr. Christy Taylor has been the woman running the whole thing. Let me just ask you a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
Are you surprised?
No, actually, I'm not. I think this is about what I expected as things have gone on this week.
One of the interesting things that I saw when I first came here, and it was jammed with probably, I'd guess, what, about 1,000 people here, would you guess?
Probably close to it, yeah.
the number of undecideds. I mean, people literally who were trying to figure out and were on the fence, and in lots of cases, they were going different directions.
You know, I think in the last 3 to 4 weeks, people have changed their minds multiple times. I've talked to many people who have changed from 2, 3 to 4 candidates.
Is it an indication? I mean, people this morning were telling me, you know, I'm looking for a composite candidate. I want this from Mitt Romney, this from Rick Santorum. Obviously, that's not doable. Does that ultimately spell a dissatisfaction and a problem come November against Barack Obama?
You know, I don't think it's a problem. I think it's a real opportunity. We have a lot of great candidates to choose from. You know, we like the brilliance and the historical knowledge from Gingrich, and we like the fact that Rick Santorum is a real man who seems to be, you know, he could be your brother, your cousin, the guy next door, and we like the bravado of Rick Perry and the intelligence of Mitt Romney. I think we just had to choose which of those characteristics was most important to us at this time in our history.
Christy Taylor, who's running the whole thing, while she also juggles being a doctor. So we appreciate your time in your spare time. We'll bring it right back to you, Wolf.
I saw she's an MD. It says on her name tag. What kind of doctor is she?
She's an internist and actually was on call late last night, and it's going to be a late night tonight for her. And she's going to be on my show, Starting Point, tomorrow morning early, which we appreciate. I don't know if your staff told you. It's going to be a really busy 48 hours for Dr. Taylor.
Dr. Taylor and for Soledad O'Brien, going to be very busy as well, guys. We're going to get back to you. Thanks very much. Let's take a look at the votes right now. 31% of the precincts have now reported. Look at how close it is. Mitt Romney slightly at 118 votes ahead of Rick Santorum. Ron Paul right up there, though. Mitt Romney with 24%, Rick Santorum and Ron Paul 23%, Newt Gingrich 13%. Look at how close it is for the top three. The bottom three, let's bring that up and show our viewers. Rick Perry, a disappointing 10%, Michelle Bachmann, 6%, and John Huntsman, who really didn't campaign in Iowa, only 1%, 211 votes. Let's go back to the leaders right now. These are the official votes. These are not the entrance poll results. These are the official votes, and it's a three-man race right now. Almost one-third of the voting has now been counted. 7,844 votes for Mitt Romney, 7,726 for Rick Santorum, 7,655 for Ron Paul. Let's go to Dana Bash over at Ron Paul headquarters right now. I guess more and more people are coming back from their caucuses to wait for the candidate.
That's right, and we have here somebody who actually did just go vote for Ron Paul, a first-time caucus voter, Corporal Jesse Thorson, who is 28 years old, and you are active duty U.S. Army. Why did you vote for Ron Paul?
Well, I'm really excited about a lot of his ideas, especially when it comes to bringing the soldiers home. I've been serving for 10 years now, and all 10 years of those have been during wartime. I'd like to see a little peacetime Army, and I think he has the right idea.
Now, you have done 2 tours in Afghanistan. You told me you're going to go back for a third tour. I mean, if you can see your neck right there, what you have on your tattoo, 9/11, remember, and a picture of the Twin Towers. You know, some Republicans out there have been saying that Ron Paul would be very dangerous for this country because he wants to bring troops like you back from your post from all over the world.
Well, I think it would be even more dangerous to start nitpicking wars with other countries. Someone like Iran, Israel is more than capable of.
All right, we just lost our connection, unfortunately, with Dana. Dana, stand by if you can hear me. We're going to get back. You want to go to Candy Crowley over at Mitt Romney headquarters. People are beginning to fill up that room over there, Candy?
They are indeed, and we're starting to grab some folks here. And I want to introduce Senator John Thune, who I know I don't have to introduce to you, Wolf, but to our audience. You always know when a politician looks this relaxed, it's not your election night. That's right. But Senator Thune was at the caucus in Ankeny tonight, speaking for Mitt Romney. Listen, we're watching these poll numbers come in. We see Romney now at about 23-24%. Less than he had last time around. What does that say about Mitt Romney in Iowa?
Well, I think it's an entirely different race this time around, Candy. You've got more candidates that are in contention. You've got sort of a three-way pack at the top, and then you've got a number of candidates who are not doing as well. But it's just the vote's divided up a lot different ways than it was, in a lot different ways than it was 4 years ago. But we're, I think, very encouraged by the numbers that are coming in so far.
Well, you know how this works. If he comes out of here with 24%, even if he wins, people are going to say he's got a ceiling. There's just something about Mitt Romney that the Republican Party does not warm up to.
What's going to happen, though, is the race, it's going to start to narrow. You're going to have some candidates probably who eventually are going to drop out, and when the race starts to get down to fewer candidates, then people are going to have to make some decisions. And I think the reason that I think Mitt Romney is doing really well here in Iowa is because people are really looking at the electability issue. I think people realize that they need